2018 Hyundai Sonata with the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. Today we're going to be replacing the valve cover gasket. For this repair, we'll be using the part number MAE Victor Sierra 50892. Let's get to it. And in the engine bay, first thing we need to do is go ahead and remove our engine cover. You can do this by pulling up in the corners. Make sure you don't accidentally grab something underneath. That's not the engine cover. You can see we got a leak pretty much all the way around here. It's leaking in here a little bit too. So I guess first thing we can do is start by isolating the ignition coils, and we're also going to need to remove this harness sleeve that's in here. Looks like everything starting off is just going to be a couple of 10mm bolts. We can also remove this hose, which you can just take it off by your hand. Just squeeze that together. And yeah, let's get to it. All right, let's start by removing the 10mm bolts holding this harness in. It looks like there's one here, one back here, and one right here. Good. Remove our high pressure fuel pump insulator. We got another hose here also. I wonder if I can get this one off by hand. Nope, that one's on there pretty tight. I'm gonna come in here, unbolt the ignition coils, all 4 of them. Move these out of the way. If you're doing spark plugs, this would be a good time to do those. And we have a high pressure fuel pump pressure gauge connector right there. Disconnect that. What else we got? What we're dealing with. Got a sensor right here. Go ahead and unplug that just to be safe. And underneath of our intake, it looks like it is just lining up a little bit. We have a ground right here. That might be a little bit difficult to see, but there's a 10mm bolt right here that's grounding our harness to the, it's like a bracket that goes down to the engine. We need to remove that. So I guess I will remove this vacuum line. Get myself a pair of needle noses. Break these loose. I'm just going to take this whole hose off, hopefully. And give that a good twist. And pull it off. Beautiful. Come in here with a 10mm gear wrench. Break that ground bolt loose. Move that ground bolt. And go ahead and take that negative off, and I'm going to put this bolt back in this spot. Just twist that in a couple threads to make sure that I put that right back where it's supposed to go. And with that, we can move this out of the way. And this coil pack, actually, I'm going to go ahead and unplug this. This is the cylinder 4 coil pack. If it lets me. I'll pull down on this. I'm going to grab the gray plastic piece and just push those out a little bit. disconnect that one so we can get it underneath of this high pressure fuel pump hose. This is the return line, this one right here. This is the pressure line. And for the return line, this has a cover on it that has to be pulled off. And it looks like we may need a special tool for this. So all you gotta do for the return line is, I'm gonna push that back in. See if I can't get a better camera shot on this. For the tool, let's see if I can take this off real quick. There we go. Take this. It actually is not really a cover, it's a lock. And what you need to do, grab yourself a flathead screwdriver and place it right between the high pressure fuel pump and this gray looking washer piece. And what that's actually going to do is that when you push this into the high pressure fuel pump, that washer piece has a sleeve on it that's going to disconnect it from the high pressure fuel pump. And I have not drained my system, so this might have some fuel in it. Yeah, that's got pressure behind it. I'm gonna let that out nice and slowly. There it goes. Okay, it's just a little bit. So, typically if you're doing the high pressure fuel pump, I would recommend pulling the fuel pump relay or fuse for the fuel pump in your gas tank and just letting the engine idle until it dies on its own when it runs out of gas. But obviously we're not doing that right now, so I ain't too worried about it. And we've got our harnesses out of the way. What about a 10mm here, a 10mm here? I guess we'll just go ahead and finish removing the high pressure fuel pump. Grab myself a pair of channel pliers. Break loose the high pressure fuel line. There it goes. And remove this nice and slowly. It does look like that's all it's going to give us. 10mm for both bolts on the high pressure fuel pump. Make sure we do not lose these bolts. Pull back on this high pressure line and lift the high pressure fuel pump out of the way. Go ahead and put these bolts back in their place so they do not accidentally get used somewhere else, and also so I don't lose them. Gently bend that high pressure fuel pump out of the way, because what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to lift the valve cover up like this and then pull it out that way to make sure that we can get it over this line. But lifting it up a couple of inches really helps. And with that, I believe this valve cover gasket is ready to be unbolted and removed, except for possibly these two bolts, but I think this is a gasket inside of here. I don't think this bolts down into anything. Oh, it might. Yeah, we might need to remove those. I'm just gonna go ahead and remove them. These two 10mm right here, I'm pretty sure that is some, maybe that's just there specifically for the high pressure fuel pump. Also, if you are replacing the high pressure fuel pump on this, make sure you pull out your roller right here. This rides on the camshaft. It's always good to pull these out anyway, even if you're just doing the valve cover gasket. Just make sure there's no flat pieces on it. Make sure it's not binded up. Make sure you can't push it or wobble it at all. See, this one's in good shape. This like $20 piece right here, this cam idler will destroy your entire engine if you like, not trying to make it sound dramatic, but if you get the opportunity to check that out, whether you're doing the valve cover gasket, the high pressure fuel pump, no matter what you're doing, if you ever have to remove your high pressure fuel pump, make sure you take the time to check out that roller right there, because if that is bad, your engine is not far from going bad itself, because that will chew into the camshaft, your exhaust camshaft, and that metal will go through your whole engine, and you know, if you don't catch it soon enough, it'll destroy everything. But anyway, enough about that. Let's get back to the valve cover gasket. Let's go ahead and start removing these 10mm bolts. This one's in a really bad spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, crap, 5, stop grabbing it. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I believe that's all of them. Take a second, double check. Make sure I've removed all of them. Missed this one. Definitely don't want to pull the valve cover gasket up and have one of those bolts fly off into the unknown to never be seen again. Can't find a good pry spot like this one right here. There it goes. Just nice and gently. Don't gotta break nothing. Just work our way around. Being very careful not to damage the valve cover. I'm getting some resistance on this side, but I can't tell if it's just the gasket is still doing its job on this side, because the fronts and the back is definitely not. Yeah, okay, that's all of them. Come on. There we go. Thank you. And like I said, we're just gonna lift up this way and pull it out like so. I'll be honest with you, I don't think my valve cover gasket set came with a new one for the high pressure fuel pump. Oh yeah, that's brittle. Remove our valve cover gasket. Gonna break a couple times, but that's okay, to be expected. This vehicle just rode over 100,000 miles. Kind of surprised that the valve cover gasket is leaking already, especially considering that this is not a turbocharged model. Turbocharged models, I could understand that leaking. They like to leak oil because the turbo pushes so much pressure that even at like 50-60,000 miles they start getting a little bit of blow by. So pushing out a valve cover gasket is not unheard of. And I was able to find this gasket for the high pressure fuel pump seal. This one right here. Delta 33355 for the part number. We got our valve cover all cleaned up with the new gaskets installed on it. But before we install it, let's go ahead. These sharp 45-degree angles right here, you're going to find some RTV. You're going to make sure that you clean that out and replace it with fresh RTV before installing the valve cover. That's going to be this spot right here, and on the opposing side you can see it bubbling up right here. Right there. And then we'll go over the area of the top of the cylinder head with a rag that has been sprayed with some brake clean and get that all cleaned up if this RTV would get out of the way. Try your best to scrub this dirt up here away from going inside of the engine. And last but not least, we come up here where the high pressure fuel pump sits and clean all that stuff off, trying to catch it as you bring it to the edge and you're getting ready to take it off. Just pinch it in your rag like that. Right into those two spots where we removed the old RTV, right here at these 45-degree angles. Go ahead and put a nice bead of RTV. I recommend black RTV, but I am out, so I'm using gray for this job. And we go ahead and install the valve cover the same way we took it out. We're going to angle it up on the passenger side, get it over that hump for the high pressure fuel pump, and get it down into place like so. Next, we can go ahead and get all of our bolts, and we're going to hand start each and every single bolt. Just a couple of threads, because we need to make sure they're all lined up. Because through the magic of the car gods, if you don't do this step and you start tightening down a couple, the last one, for whatever reason, will not line up and you'll have to do it all over again. I'm just going to jump around to a couple different spots so that the valve cover is getting lined up properly. Yeah, there it is. And with every one of those bolts started by hand, I'm going to go ahead and start with the innermost bolt, which is right here. Put that down. And we're not going crazy on these. We're just putting them down good and tight. Yeah. And then we can start working our way out. Going in a crisscross manner for the outside bolts. This one. And that's pretty much all there is to it for this repair. Go ahead and reinstall everything back together in the exact reverse order that we took it apart from, and you should be golden. If this video helped you out and you'd like to see another one on one of these vehicles, go ahead and check out that one right there. I made that one just for you. But other than that, if this video helped you out, leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe. See y'all next time.